For this video, I am tuning in to two people. It's like a double feature, sort of. And at first I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be them talking together about the topic of the video, or if this was just two like separate clips of some of their stuff, or like interviews or stand-up routines. So then once I opened it up and I got a glimpse of the opening part here, it seems to me like this is just portions of some of their bits. But the title of this is called Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr Challenge Woke Culture. I've made no secret of the fact that I'm not a fan of the current wave of wokeness that's going on in almost all aspects of our lives. It seems like, you know, entertainment, politics, sports, just it's everywhere. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a very destructive type of thing that's happening. It's cancerous in nature, and I really don't. I don't have much patience for it. And I think a lot of that is because the more I learn about the sort of the foundation of it, what it's fundamentally rooted in, which is Marxism, the more I really can't stand it. And I saw this gentleman's channel. I think his name is Ryan Chapman. I think that's his name. It's a smallish channel. I mean, it's like 3,000 sub channel, but it just, one of his popped up and he talks about this sort of stuff. And I have thought about maybe doing sort of reaction and commentary to some of his stuff too, but I just really haven't gotten to it yet. But I will link his channel in the description of this video. But he tackles these sorts of hot button issues in a very nuanced sort of peeling the onion skin back, non-biased manner. He's just trying to objectively examine all of the different sort of things that are involved in some of these big issue things. He doesn't have a whole lot of videos on his channel, but the ones that I have found are quite interesting. And he's just sitting there just talking to you. I mean, obviously he's got it, it's very nicely prepared. His thoughts are well organized, unlike mine. And he just lays out a wonderful, I wouldn't even necessarily say argument, but he's just explaining a lot of things that pertain to stuff like this. The reason that I threw his name out there is because it kind of ties in with the subject here about woke culture. And instead of choosing to react and comment to one of his videos, I decided that I wanted to tackle this one because I haven't seen it. I have a feeling maybe I've seen some clips of the bits that these are taken from. So I won't know until I press play, and I can't continue to yammer too long because I have to leave after a bit to go somewhere. So go ahead and press play.
It's hard not to write these jokes. It's hard not to think about. Even when I watch sports, I be thinking about, like think about, okay, say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA, or because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game? What does it actually mean to be equal? You know what I mean? Like, women are actually equal to men, then there would be no WNBA, would there?
Right, there wouldn't be. But interestingly enough, this is off topic from this particular video, but he brought up something that I have mentioned before. I heard today on the news that there's a possibility of something being brought before the Supreme Court as far as the sexism involved in forcing men to sign up for the draft. Well, selective service, but it's ultimately what could amount to the draft. Forcing men only to sign up for that as opposed to women. I think that's excellent that it could potentially be brought before the court. I have a feeling the court won't want to touch it, but I'm curious to find out. And if they did touch it, I'm really curious to see where would it go. But I have a feeling it wouldn't go in the direction that I personally think it should, but it's just kind of interesting because it ties into this a little bit.
You would just be good enough to play in the NBA with us. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
Where's he going? Is this his recent? I think this is his recent thing, right?
I'm sorry, ladies. I got a fucking Me Too headache. Y'all is killing me right now.
Oh gosh, I tell you, I know.
It's really fucking tough to watch what's going on. You know.
I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a fan at all of the whole Me Too thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's something that's ultimately turned into a witch hunt against men. I don't like these sort of big, huge movement type mob sort of things that develop. I don't see really much good in them ultimately.
You know, ladies, I said it in my last special, and I got in a lot of trouble for this. I told you were right going to work, but I'm biased. I said it. Louis C.K. was a very good friend of mine before he died in that terrible masturbation accident. And it was his room. You read the story. He was masturbating in his own room. That's where he's supposed to masturbate. And then he said, hey, everybody, I'm going to pull my dick out. Nobody ran for the door or nothing like that. They all just kind of hung out like, I wonder if this guy's serious. And he came on his own stomach. There it is. What is the threat? Have any women ever seen a guy that just came on his own stomach? This is the least threatening motherfucker the earth has ever seen.
Yeah, someone in my comment section on one of my Louis C.K. videos mentioned something about the reason, I'm paraphrasing, something about how the reason that still wasn't okay what he, like as far as, I mean, whatever. To me, that's just kind of like, ugh. But he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't threaten anybody. He didn't force anybody to do anything. But on the subject of being forced or whatever, someone mentioned that he was in a position of power or whatever, but he wasn't in a position of power. He wasn't like their boss or something. And he didn't have any sort of hold over them. He just like asked them and then he just did what he did. But, so the consequences of that, I feel, were just insane. That's the thing about the whole cancel / woke culture thing, is that people are being crucified for stuff that it's not really, yeah, you could say all this stuff is subjective, but come on. Why is it so hard to save that sort of outrage for things that are like really super bad, like, you know, murdering tons of people or something like that? Why do we need to completely destroy someone just because they said something you didn't like, even if it didn't even hurt anybody? And even if it's hurt somebody's feels, is that really justification for completely destroying a person's life, trying to destroy their livelihood, their very existence, like in the online world? I'm just not. See, this is the kind of, this sort of behavior that happens when these things go on. It reminds me a lot of the hysteria around things like, you know, the Salem witch trials and how all these people were just, you see what happened. Maybe we're not literally burning people at the stake nowadays or dunking them in water or whatever, but that is figuratively what's happening. And sometimes violence does occur because of stuff like this.
All you see is shame in their face and cum dripping down like pancake butter.
No, don't compare that to pancakes. No, I'm never going to think about pancakes the same.
He didn't do anything that you can call the police for. I dare to try. Call the police on him. Hello, police. Yes, I am on the other line with comedian Louis C.K., and I think that he is masturbating while I'm on the phone.
Oh.
You know what the police are going to say in Atlanta? Well, what are you guys talking about? Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
They ruined this nigga's life, and now he's coming back playing comedy clubs, and they acting like if he's able to do that, that's going to hurt women. What the fuck is your agenda, ladies? Is sexism dead? No. In fact, the opposite happened. I said it was going to get worse, and they said I was tone deaf. But 8 states, including your state, have passed the most stringent anti-abortion laws this nation has seen since Roe v. Wade.
Okay, and here's the thing, though. It's not necessarily, I don't know about sexism against women being significantly worse, but sexism against men is extremely prevalent. And in fact, it is embraced, it's celebrated, it's condoned. That is widespread. So while maybe he probably has a point in what he's saying, as far as sexism against women getting worse, even though I don't really connect those two. The point that he was making about the anti-abortion laws being a direct response to what's going on, but I do think that sexism is worse. I think a lot of things are worse now because of this type of stuff that's going on. Like I said, it's destructive all the way around, and I have not seen yet a legitimate, rational, valid argument put forth as to why this is a good thing that's happening.
About body issues. That's the dumbest one ever. They talk about Hollywood going like, Hollywood, they create these impossible body images, blah, blah, blah. You know, that whole thing, the plus size actress, right? The fatties. Yeah.
I think I've seen parts of this.
That's like a big thing. They're sick of being treated like fat people. I don't know what it is they're doing. They're going on the cover of magazines now, just like showing how fat they are, wearing a little bit amount of clothes. And everybody's like hyping them up, like, oh my God, that's so brave. That's so courageous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying
Celebrating
it doesn't take balls, but that's a bit of an overreach.
Things that aren't
with the
quite
word
healthy.
brave. Right? Like, what am I supposed to do if I ever see a fireman running out of a building?
Yeah, this is definitely a
baby and
repeat.
an old lady. Am I going to sit there like, oh my God, you're like a fat actress that takes her shirt off to do a magazine shoot to promote the movie she's in?
Yeah, this is probably going to be a complete repeat of everything I've already seen
fun of fat
before.
People. I understand,
on this part.
All right? I don't know why, though. Why? They're not a race. They're not a religion. It's totally curable. Eat an apple and go for a walk. You know? Mm-hmm. Why the fuck are you giving me shit for? All right? You put the cookies in there. I didn't. How is this my problem? Jesus Christ, you ate your way in, you can walk your way out. All right? And just slowly start shedding the pounds. Shove some fucking lettuce in there instead of a bunch of ho-hos, and it's going to come down.
It's as simple as that for most
fence,
people.
Right? Join me. Come on, say it with me. Shame. Shame. Right? I know, you're not supposed to shame. You're not supposed to fat shame. You're not supposed to slut shame. They're like shaming. Like people aren't supposed to walk around with any shame. It's like a legitimate human emotion, but you're not supposed to feel it at all. You know, you're supposed to just walk around like a dictator. You're not going to feel any shame. You never felt shame. You never had such a bad fucking night the next morning. You woke up, you couldn't even look yourself in the mirror. When you went to go brush your teeth, you looked up, you're like, oh, you fucking piece of shit. Wow. Even for you, that was bad. Lights out, curtains drawn until at least 2 p.m. before I can even look at you, you fucking piece of shit. Yeah, you're supposed to have no shame. That's the new world. You're just going to walk around sucking dick, you know, eating. No one's supposed to have an opinion. Like, wow, that's going to go off the rails pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, according to the woke mob, the cancel culture mob, the only opinion that matters is theirs. It's okay for them to have an opinion, but the other person should not. See, there's a word for that. It's called hypocrisy.
I know, it's probably mean to do this stuff, but like, you can only have so much sympathy. There's so much stuff you can care about. You know what happened to me that changed my life? I did a gig in India, right? Unbelievably great people, but some of the stuff that I saw there, I'll never.
I feel like I need to fast forward some of this, but there's only 2 minutes
take a
left.
Shit between 2 parked cars, walked away, no pants or parents, and then disappeared into the crowd like Hannibal Lecter at the end of Silence of the Lambs. It's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen in my life. And then I come back to my country and it's like, oh, the studio said I had to lose 15 pounds to star in a movie. Well, then start running, you fat fuck. That's your big complaint in life?
You know what's sad, too, about, when people are trying to talk about stuff like this and explain things, is that the stuff that they're talking about, it's just common sense. just common sense. Why is this so hard for some people to understand? I mean, I know why it's hard. It's easier to play the victim than to just actually, take some responsibility for your own self, that sort of thing. But it just seems to be just exponentially worse than it used to be. And I've talked about this before. I think social media is a huge factor.
You know what it is? You know what it is? You know what it is about these fatties? You know what it really is? They have no respect for the amount of sacrifice and dedication it takes to truly get in like magazine level shape, which is you ever try to get abs? You ever try to get all the abs and get that shit down here? You ever try to do it? It's fucking impossible. Past the age of 19, you can't do it without tons of help. You gotta buy all these exercise telling you fucking running along. You need like your own chef, and he's like, okay, don't eat it yet. Don't eat it yet. All right, now, eat it. Start consuming it. All right, stop. Slow down, stop. Spit it out. Spit it out. I told you to stop. Get on the elliptical. Now you like that Brussels sprout? Did you like that Brussels sprout? Because now you're paying for it.
Brussels.
It's a fucking miserable experience. Just walking around, your whole body's eating yourself. You want some cake? No, just take a salad. Balsamic vinaigrette on the side, no croutons. Oh my God. When is the photo shoot? I want to kill myself. It's horrible. You ever try to get fat? No. You don't have to. It's effortless.
Yeah, right.
You can fucking lay on your back, watching your favorite show, just shoveling shit down your throat. What are you doing? I'm getting fat. I'm getting fat. You got a trainer? Don't need one.
Right. Don't need one at all. I don't want to let it go past this. I am going to have my eye on this one here. Dave Chappelle and Bernie Mac talking about kids. I wish there was a way I could save it to watch this without having to open up the whole video. But anyway, whatever. I'm running a little short on time. I have to leave to go pick up my son from work. So I don't have a lot more to add to what I've already mentioned. This whole Bill Burr one was a complete repeat of something I've already seen. I've already got a video up about it. So I think what I'm going to do is once it gets started, when I'm editing, whenever I'm not, directly reacting to something that he is saying, I'll probably splice those parts out because I don't want it to be a complete full repeat of his video. I think actually that video might right now be unlisted or blocked or something by Netflix. I think it was Netflix. I can't remember, but anyway, you know what? I'm going to look and see. This is what I'm going to do. If it's unlisted right now, because maybe there's like a copyright thing going on, then maybe I'll let this full one play. If it's listed, maybe I'll cut it up. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I agree with their take on this. I just, there's not much more you can add to something that is so clear and so commonsensical. And I appreciate that they speak up about this sort of stuff. I kind of feel like more and more people are less inclined to speak up about stuff like this because they're concerned about what might happen to them publicly, professionally, if they do. And I think that's a shame. I hope that the tide turns really soon because it's way past time that it does. Yeah, but I can't talk much longer because I definitely have to leave. So I'm going to wrap this up and see you guys later. Bye.